Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the MylesHighClub Podcast. I am your host. This is episode number 54. Yeah, episode number 54. I hope everyone is well and in good spirit. I'm good. This week, well, the past week it's just been a week of outrage, backlash, and blackfishing. It seems. Let's start this podcast with a conspiracy. I don't know how juicy you're going to find this one, but it is a conspiracy. So last week, on last week's podcast, I spoke about the whistleblower Frances Haugen and the timely fall of Facebook going down right as these lot were about to get whistleblowing on about their whole practice and how they don't make the whole internet safe and whatnot. And it turns out I wasn't the only person to put these two dots together, because a few of the podcasts I watched, they ended up bringing it up as well. So I was like, aha, I'm on the right track. But now, a conspiracy that's come out, again, I don't know who's planted this conspiracy. This could be, before I get into this conspiracy could either be A, true, or it could be, the conspiracy itself could be a conspiracy started by Facebook. So, here's the conspiracy. The conspiracy theory is that Frances Haugen is a plant and that Facebook are using her to expose the lack of censoring on Facebook to encourage them to actually do more censoring. Does that make sense? So what's basically happening is, according to this conspiracy, Facebook have got this Frances Haugen and they've said, right, we censor a lot of shit, but we want to be able to censor even more stuff without people judging us. So you go out there and whistleblow on us and say that we're not safe for children and that we target people and that we switch safety settings off and all of this, and basically say that we encourage all of these racial posts and heated political posts that have people fighting and arguing against each other. You're saying that we push them and we don't do enough to stop that things from happening. By doing that, people then come out and say, Facebook, you need to censor more. And then Facebook will go, oh, okay, we will apply more censorship. That's the conspiracy, basically. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that conspiracy. If she didn't come out and say such shocking stuff, then maybe. If this Frances just came out and was like, Facebook's not doing enough, they're not censoring the right stuff and they're using this to make that I could probably understand. She came out and said Facebook's like cigarettes, that they target teens, that Instagram promotes anorexia like posts onto young girls. Oh, the way that they fan racial anger around the world, the way that they're using politics against each other and how they're using it to swing certain votes. Listen, this shit she was saying was a lot for Facebook to be the ones that put that plant in. If Facebook did that, it says balls. To me, if Facebook are putting this plant in, to me it says Facebook, no, they can't be touched. Too many people rely and depend on Facebook, which, if you weren't personally affected by it last week when it went down, I'm pretty sure you know someone, or the majority of the people you know, were affected by it in one way or another. Whether it was a business or just purely personal, someone was affected by it. So it seems like a ballsy move by Facebook. Then again, I have watched The Social Network, and Mark Zuckerberg does seem like that kind of fuck it. Like, he seems like the guy that has that fuck it attitude, I can do what I want. So maybe that's what's happened. Who knows? What do you think of the conspiracy? Get in the comments and let me know. What else have we got? That was a nice short one. The next topic, right? I know little to nothing about half of this topic. So, former Little Mix singer Jesy Nelson has been accused of blackfishing. She came out with a new music video to her song called Boys with Nicki Minaj, and people are accusing her of blackfishing. Right, let me start off by saying I know not much about Jesy Nelson. I know not much about Little Mix. I know Little Mix were a band formed on X Factor or one of them singing shows, and they were a group and they were big, and then Jesy was getting bullied by fans, or Jesy was going through stuff. I remember seeing that in places. I want to say it was like a weight thing. Who knows? But I remember them saying Jesy was going through stuff. I swear Wait was one of them. And then she was getting compared to the other girls, and then something happened. Jesy left. And there you go. Pretty much all I can say on the background. But she's been accused of blackfishing. Now, apparently it's not the first time she's been accused of blackfishing. But she's been accused of blackfishing, which, if you don't know what blackfishing is, you know what, let me get an official, because to me, blackfishing is, I understand it as when a white person is doing things to portray themselves as black, which to me would be doing things like, not right, getting a tan, having a tan, perfectly fine. Some tans are natural. Even if you have a fake tan, perfectly fine. If you have a tan and then start wearing box braids and change up your whole style to emulate a black person or looking similar to a black person, that's blackfishing. People that talk with a black accent, hate people that use a black accent. I don't know if I spoke about this before with Awkwafina, a female Asian actress. She's in the new Shang-Chi. She plays Shang-Chi's best friend, the woman that drives the bus. Her. She's Asian. She always gets accused of using a black accent to get to where she is now. So hold on, let me just see if the title of this thing is "What is Blackfishing and Why has Jesy been accused of it?" And it doesn't even... Right, the term was coined by journalist Wanna Thompson in 2018, and it is used to describe someone accused of pretending to be black on social media by using makeup, hair products, and in some cases, surgery to drastically change their appearance. Right, yeah, so again, Jesy Nelson was accused of blackfishing after she released her debut single, Boys, with Nicki Minaj earlier this week. In the music video, Nelson is seen as being heavily tanned and her hair styled with wigs and braids. She got accused of this. She then came out and was like, I personally want to say that my intention was to never ever offend people of colour with this video and my song because, like I said, growing up as a young girl, this is the music that I listened to. These are the videos that I watched and thought they were the best. For me personally, 90s, 2000 hip-hop, R&B music was the best era of music. I just want to celebrate that. I just wanted to celebrate that era of music because it is what I love. And then again, it says it says that she's not the first person to be accused of this, but I watched the video, I listened to the song. To me, it's a difficult one because she used to be in a band. From what I'm aware, she was in a poppy pop band. So none of the songs that she ever would have sang would have ever been accused of anything like this, because all the songs, they're pop, they're happy pop, young girls look up to this, We Are Little Mix, Simon Cowell. It's that kind of music, safe for the radio kind of music. I'm looking at a picture of them now, and I think, and again, there's one black girl. Yeah, there's one black girl on the team. Jessy's not the whitest in the picture I'm looking at. So again, it's not like she's never tanned before. Maybe she's never gone that dark with the tan before. Let me go on both sides. Right, side number one, everything that she said influenced her was black people. She can't just say black people influenced R&B, hip hop, early 90s, 2000s, black people. She's been heavily influenced by black people. She basically said, I've been heavily influenced by black people. I wanted to celebrate that in the video, which is why the video is the way it is. That's one side of it. So to me, it sounds like maybe she wasn't trying to copy black people, but she wanted to emulate the black vibe from all of those videos. So that's one thing. The other side of it, like she's saying she's tanned. I don't care. Someone that lives in England, I'm used to seeing people tan now. When people used to tan, when I was in school and people used to come in looking dark, no one would ever accuse them of being black. They would just be like, you got tango, you look like you've been in a pack of What's-Its or cheesy Dorito. It was always, they just got called orange. It was always orange. Again, they never did anything with their hair. It was just the tan. Does that. I think what's happened for Jesy is when you apply it all together, it does look kind of sus, Jess. Okay? I'm just saying it looks a little sus. You've got the dark tan. You've got the braid hairstyle. The way you're singing and your flow, it's not the typical one that we're used to hearing you with Little Mix. It is a little bit more urban, as some people would say. So I can see why she's getting these allegations. Do I think she's deliberately blackfishing? A little bit. Just a little bit. Is it right? No, I don't like. Just do you. Only way I can say it is do you, because I understand when there's a white person that's been brought up around black people, or their friends are black, all you do is hang around black people. I understand from when you spend a certain amount of time around people, you're going to pick up certain mannerisms. I know plenty of white people that probably speak a lot more ghetto than me. And then when I look at their upbringing and who they're around and who they've grown up with, I can see why you've been hanging around a lot of black people. So those mannerisms are going to rub off on you. Again, I don't know anything about Jesy. Has she been hanging around more black people? No idea. Would that be an excuse? I mean, I wouldn't get her off completely, but I'd understand it. If she started using certain slang in her songs, it's because who she's hanging around with. I can understand it. I think you just look at what you're doing. I think people know what they're doing. You've got the tan, you go for the braids, you switch up your accent a little. It's the way it all looks. It's the way it all looks. But poor Jesy. This is another example of people being on the side of mental health and then forgetting about it 1 minute. Because main reason I know of Jesy is, I don't know if I can call it a mental breakdown or even say she had any mental health issues, but I'm sure she came out before saying she was being bullied and all this, and I swear she's mentioned her mental health before. That's the only main reason I actually know who this Jesy person is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a clue. So everyone always cares then, when everyone was taking the piss out of her for being fat and whatnot. Now this comes up and everyone has immediately forgot about mental health, and everyone's just dogging her in the comments. She went on live with Nicki Minaj, and Nicki Minaj was like, yo, leave the girl alone. It wasn't blackfishing, blah, 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 and bounced. ZZ Mills seems to be at her neck on Twitter. She was at her neck as soon as the video dropped, and then she was at her neck and Nicki Minaj's neck when this dropped. There was a little thing going between Nohun. If you don't know who Nohun is, it's the mixed race. Yeah, the gay mixed race guy. Birmingham accent from Birmingham on TikTok. He seems to be blowing up a lot this year. One of the members of Little Mix saw a video of him dancing to boys. She told him not to do that and said you should talk about Jesy blackfishing instead. Is she trying to instigate something? Who knows? I think there's tension between the group, and that this is, as you can tell, I don't really care for the ins and outs of the group and the gossip side of it. They fell out, they haven't fell out, who knows? Blackfishing, back to the main subject. I just took a tangent off. Blackfishing, back onto it. We know it happens. We've seen it happen all the time. Jesy, I think Jessy's caught it in, for her it's the timing. I really do think for her it's the timing. It's, again, when you was in Little Mix, you looked and dressed one way. You've now left them. You're finding your own identity with your new song and your new look. That I'm completely with. Again, it's only one video. It features Nicki Minaj. She's not darker than Nicki Minaj in the video, so I don't think that's that much of a problem. But again, she's in a video with Nicki Minaj. Maybe she's like, yo, I don't want to look pale as shit next to Nicki, so let me get a tan. Nothing wrong with that. The hair, I swear she's always had long, curly hair. Why you don't embrace that? Or if you did change your hair out for the whole video, I'm not too sure. But white people, just look in the mirror and just think to yourself, do I look black? The answer's yes. Like, change your top or something. Maybe there's another conversation in this, like white people with dreads. That's a conversation that seems to fuel anger in a lot of black people. White people with dreads, white people that talk black. Everybody wants to. Paul Mooney said it the best. Everybody wants to be a nigger, but nobody wants to be a nigger. Everyone wants the cool aspects of black people. Our slang, music, food, dance, lips, bums. No one wants the troubles of being one. Should we keep moving on to more backlash, more outrage and backlash that has come from the past week? What have I got next? Dave Chappelle. Oh, Dave. This was always going to come. I think after every Dave special, he has backlash. So again, Dave Chappelle, after his Netflix special, The Closer, it's nothing new. It's a bunch... Right, hold on. It's nothing new. It's the trans community, or people from the trans community, coming out, calling Dave Chappelle transphobic. and stuff like that. I'm ready. I'm literally looking through the timeline to try and see if I can come up with what actually happened. I'm trying to find all the comments, but I'm not going to spend my time looking for that. Dave Chappelle's coming for Backlash. The Backlash is he's transphobic. He's making jokes about trans people. He doesn't care about trans people. Blah, blah, blah. Dave said at the end of his special, it's not trans people I'm going at. It's white people. Now, I'm not trans. So maybe there is something in his jokes, or there's something somewhere that if you are trans, you just can't see the funny side of it. Maybe that's true. But I've said 1,000 times, I'm a cisgender. Born a man, I am a man, identify as a man, whatever it's called. So maybe that's why I can just look at these jokes and find them funny. Dave Chappelle doesn't seem, I don't know him. Let me just start by I don't know Dave, but it seems he doesn't seem malicious. After everything Dave Chappelle's been through, he's the last person that's going to target a minority group, whatever. He's the last person that's going to target someone and be prejudiced towards that said someone. This group just seems to have it out for Dave. They just have it out for Dave, and I think it's because he's the only one out there that's telling jokes on such a big platform and they hate it. That was one bit of the backlash. You got all the backlash about this, and then you had a whole bunch of people jumping on the necks of Netflix trying to get them shut down. And then a story came out earlier this week. Netflix suspends trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's special, and also Netflix suspends 3 staff, including one transgender person. So, the suspension one, read more into the story. The way the media just puts things out, it's a great title. Netflix suspends 3 people, including a transgender person, after comments about Dave Chappelle, the closer. That just sounds like, yo, Netflix, what the fuck? Even I can agree that's wrong. That's not what happened. Apparently, there was a meeting going on in Netflix headquarters somewhere, a high-level directors meeting, and 3 people who weren't invited to this meeting attempted to barge into this meeting to bring up their disgust with Dave Chappelle. Listen, in the corporate world, you gotta know when to pick your battles. We all know that. Don't look at me like I'm a sellout. We all know. You probably sat there, well, Miles, what would you do? I would never advise you copy anything that I do. I'd get myself fired immediately and then be pissed off that I'm fired and no money to feed the rest of my family. You have to pick your battles when it comes to these corporate ones, and bursting into a meeting with the directors and whoever else is in there because you're upset about a joke that was said, not going to go down well. Another piece of backlash is, let me see if I can actually find this one because I'm sure I saved it. The owner, someone at Netflix came out and basically said, I'm not stopping anything. So, is it this one? Yeah, Netflix suspends transgender employee amid backlash against Dave Chappelle's special. The stand-up comedian faced heavy criticism last week after his latest special was released, in which he mocked trans people and said he was Team TERF like J.K. Rowling. Here are some of the comments. It attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness. That's what one person said. So here it is. The publication reports that the suspension came after the engineer, along with 2 other employees, tried to attend a director-level meeting they weren't invited to. Another trans employee is said to have quit over the handling of Dave Chappelle's special and Field's subsequent comments. And I think those subsequent comments were him basically coming out. One of the owners or directors of Netflix basically came out and said, it's doing really well. It's really popular. We're not going to take it down. So a bunch of people at first were just saying, okay, all you need to do is take this down. Here you go. Netflix CEO argues that Chappelle's new special, criticised as transphobic, is too popular to cancel. At least he's being honest. Trans people have that. At least they are being honest. If this was flipped on side of its head and it was someone talking some racist shit and black people were kicking off and wanted it cancelling, they would just piss on us and tell us it was raining. At least he came out and was like, hey, this shit's popular. I can't cancel this. This shit is flying off the shelves. Even though it's streaming, you kind of understand what I mean by that as well. Now, one of the stories I read out earlier was only a day old. So I'm going to see if I can actually find out any more information on it. But Netflix suspends trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle. So internally, trans employees and allies are asking executives tough questions about the line between commentary and hate. I work at Netflix. Yesterday we launched another Chappelle special where he attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness, all while trying to pit us against other marginalized groups. You're going to hear a lot of talk about offense. We are not offended. That's what the tweet is. The tweet thread quickly went viral, spiraling to conversation about free speech and cancel culture. Netflix then suspended Field along with 2 other employees for time to attend. Oh, there you go. Oh, it's the same person. So she sent out a tweet and then just tried to bully her way into a room. And then, just when all this backlash was happening, if you've seen it, he talks about I forgot the woman's name. He talks about a woman, a man. Yeah, a woman. She's a woman. She's a trans woman because I'm looking at her picture of her now. Yeah, she's a trans woman, Daphne. So, the family of Daphne, who Dave Chappelle in Netflix special said was hounded to death for defending his jokes in 2019, slammed the woke mob trying to cancel him. Her sister says you can't demand everyone to see it your way. Again, it's literally LGBT community saying they're offended by his gay and transgender material. Chappelle's friend Daphne Dorman once opened for the comic, previously defended him on Twitter against claims that he was transphobic. So someone who's trans defended Dave Chappelle for his comments about being transphobic. She was then hounded and mobbed and attacked, not physically, but on Twitter and whatnot, by the LGBT community, which then led her to committing suicide. Well, I shouldn't say that led her to commit suicide, but she committed suicide after that. Her family said that she had a traumatic childhood and suffered from extreme PTSD before the slamming woke mob for trying to cancel the comedian. Chappelle pondered in his last special, The Closer, whether the harassment on social media contributed to her death. He paid tribute to his beautiful friend in the special, describing her as part of his tribe and praising her for her bravery and humour. Dave Chappelle revealed that he has set up a trust fund for Dorman's daughter, which he wants to personally hand to her when she turns 21. It's just backlash. It was just a week of backlash and a week of people being unhappy and upset for whatever reason. Another story back from the past last week. It's one of these stories where I was like, oh, that's really good. And then I was like, actually, it shouldn't have been like this for a long time. But you tell me your thoughts on it. California bans non-consensual condom removal, also known as stealthing. So, in California, in America, it's now a civil offense for someone to remove a condom without their partner's consent. While stealthing won't be a crime under California law, it will be a civil offense, enabling those who experience it to sue the perpetrators in civil court. So, because it's not a crime, you can't get arrested for it. But if you are someone out there that for some strange reason starts having sex with the condom and then sneakily takes the condom off without telling the other person, if the other person finds out, they can sue you in court for this. How you prove this is a different question. But apparently this got brought to light after a story was going around of some woman who was sleeping with some guy, and then the guy took the condom off, and then she ended up contracting an STD from it, and I believe got pregnant, and then had to fork out $200 to $300 for an abortion because of what this person did. First of all, who the fuck is stealthing? You're either team condom or team no condom. It's one of the two. It's literally one of the two. Or you end up being team condom, and then you end up sleeping with someone, and either you're sleeping with them for the first time, or it's been a while, and they're just like, you know what, F this, take it off. Or you have the conversation of, do you want to, go on something so we don't have to keep putting this on all the time? But to start with the condom and then just to take the condom off, especially without telling the other person, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not pretending here to be woke. It literally doesn't make any sense to me. I understand why people don't like using condoms. I have a daughter. I'm not here to preach about how you should always use condoms 100% of the time. We forgot once, and here she is. Wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change anything for the world either. But it's those weird games. There's the other one as well, where You're fucking a girl from behind. Oh, could be a boy. Fucking someone from behind, and then you swap places with your friend, and then someone else comes in front. They're like surprised. What? What? All right, I know who's playing these games. I ain't gonna say it. You know who I'm talking about as well. We know exactly what kind of people play those stupid games. Stealthing, surprising people and doing things like that. That is weird. Yay, it being yay that it's now illegal, or it's a civil suit. But I think it should be a crime, but I can imagine it's not a crime purely because of how hard it is to prove. The second one I mentioned, where you're having sex with someone and then you swap, that's rape. That's sex without consent. If that person doesn't know you're swapping and they haven't authorized it, you literally just become a rapist. So unless that person changes their mind, unless that person's like, oh my God, you guys are so funny, carry on. Which I don't imagine has happened a lot. No, yeah, that's fucked. And stealthing, it's just why. But from my understanding, the way I see it, let's just say I know I'm clean. So I know I'm clean. I know I don't have anything. So I know I'm not passing anything on. What proof do you have that the other person you're about to stealth doesn't have anything that you could contract? That's one. What about the other person says to you they don't mind getting pregnant? Just those two answers. Anyone that stealths, just answer those two answers for me. Preferably at a distance, because I might punch you in the face when you reply, depending on what your reply is. Doesn't make any sense to me. Wish it was an actual crime, so people could get arrested and locked up for that shit and then put in jail with people that don't use condoms. But I'm not saying people that don't use condoms go to jail. I'm saying when you're in jail, I don't think there's condoms for you to use, being as though they don't prohibit sex, so you can get stealthed in jail and they can do the whole thing where they swap with another inmate and say, surprise, while you're there with your face in the pillow screaming for help. That was a good sort of law story. On to another one. Some guy faces 25 years in Dubai prison over CBD oil left in the car by his friend. So, Billy Hood, a semi-professional footballer and coach from Kensington, claimed the 4 bottles of CBD oil were left in his car by a departing friend who he had just taken to the airport. He said, I just moved into a new home in Dubai and a friend of mine came around to see the new place. I ordered food and then we went to my car to get a second phone charger for him to use when I was suddenly approached by the police. They jumped out to arrest me, handcuffed me, Billy explained. One officer jumped out and pointed a taser at me, threatening to use it if I didn't cooperate. They demanded I show them where the drugs are. I was shocked, scared and confused. I told them I wasn't aware or in possession of any drugs or substances. They wanted to search my car, then my apartment, and found nothing. He was then asked to sign a document in Arabic, which he initially refused and asked for an English translation. And in his recount, he says the officer replied laughingly, if you don't sign, you will never leave CID. After 4 days in his cell, Billy agreed to sign the document, which I'm assuming is what fucked him up. Now, police over here are fucked, never mind other countries. I know a story, I won't say anyone's names, but I know a story of someone, so not Samsung, who I work for. It was a business who works with Samsung to do some of our events. There was an event over in India, which meant a few people had to go over to India. One of those people had a bag full of brand new Samsung devices. Went through, got stopped by security. When he got stopped by security, they pulled him over into a room and they said to him, look, you either pay us a certain amount of money and we'll let you go. Otherwise, we're going to take all your phones off you. This wasn't anything official. It wasn't anything they was allowed to do. But when you're in a foreign country, you've been locked in a room and you've got no way to help in a foreign speaking country. There's no way to help. You don't know where the embassy is. It's going to take you a while to get to the embassy. What do you do? Literally, what do you do? They assumed because he had all of these phones that he was rich. They didn't really think to themselves, oh, he's part of a business and he's bringing this here on behalf of the business. They were just like, we will just keep the phones. So anytime I hear stories about corruption abroad, I immediately believe it. Again, if you're listening out there and you're a police person or a law enforcement person from abroad and you're actually one of the good guys, keep doing your job, especially the good guys to foreigners. And you know what? It probably happens in this country. People coming over, don't speak English, bump into the law for whatever reason, and then end up just getting fucked over due to the language barrier and humans being pieces of shit. This one, imagine being in Dubai they don't find anything, yet you still get arrested. And then they give you a form to sign in Arabic, and you're like, listen, I'm not signing this until you give it me in English. And then they laugh at you and say, yo, if you don't sign this, you ain't going anywhere. And it's not like England where you can just say, I want a lawyer. Or America as well, I want a lawyer. And by law, they have to come and bring you a lawyer. Fuck that. Those countries don't care. Those countries literally don't care. And then I think the mom of this woman as well, I think she's come out saying the FCO, I don't know what the FCO is, but the FCO have done nothing to help us. We are so disappointed. After learning of other cases where people have been set up by police or falsely accused of a crime, I can't believe the British government has not put this in their travel warnings. I bet if he was someone famous or a royal blood, they'd have had him out in a second. But because it's just a random guy from Kensington, and they've seen CBD, or they've probably seen the word CBD or drugs, and they're like, you know what, we're not touching this. He seems banged to right. We're just going to have to let them have him. 25 years. That's why you can't play in these countries. You cannot play in any of these countries. I've said it before. My worst nightmare is going to jail. And that's in England, where they have comfy-ish beds and TVs and clothes and edible food. And it's just safe. The building's safe to a point. Fucking imagine Cambodia, Bali, Dubai, Thailand, even Cyprus. No. I'm on best behavior. Best behavior. And you better believe if anything ever happens where I'm about to interact with police and it looks like they're about to handcuff me, I am doing everything I can to get away. It might make it, we probably sat there thinking, Miles, that's only going to make it worse. I don't care. Imagine being in a foreign country, something happens, a party, drugs, a fight, and the police pull up, and you know you're one of the few foreign people in the facility. Oh, you're going to hang around and try and explain it to these police that don't speak a word of English, that you had nothing to do with it, or it wasn't you, or it was a misunderstanding. No, I'm going to flee, lose the police, attempt to get back to my hotel if it's safe, book a flight as soon as possible, and go straight to the airport. It's always my plan. I always think to myself, because I used to travel a lot for work, whenever I was in a foreign country, I'm like, yo, shit goes left, straight to the airport. No looking back. I remember when I used to go Ireland, whenever I go somewhere new, my first question is, how racist is this place? I just need to know, like, am I okay to walk the street in the daytime and the nighttime? Do I need to keep myself to myself and stay hidden? Someone explain what the rules are. And I remember being in Northern Ireland and I got told by one of the guys I was working with up there, he was like, you'll probably find more shit being English than you would being black. I was like, that does not help. And then because I had a hire car, he was like, yeah, you'll probably get more shit for having those English plates on your car than you would do for being black. And I was like, it's not what I want. It's not what I wanted to hear. I didn't want you to substitute one thing with another thing. And then I was like, well, what about if they are racist? Now I'm English and black. I was like, you know what? If anything ever happens, just go straight to the airport. And one day, it nearly did happen, and there would have been no way of getting to the airport. I was in Ireland. Was it Ireland? Yeah, it was Ireland. Was it Waterford? I can't remember where. No, it wasn't. It was Northern Ireland. I was somewhere in Northern Ireland. I remember it now. I was somewhere in Northern Ireland, and I was leaving a call centre. And where the call centre was, it was like by some docks, so you had to drive through a security gate. And I'd done this a few times, but the one time I came over to Northern Ireland one time, for some strange reason, there was just a police, not a patrol. You know when police are just like held up in one spot and they're just stopping everyone that goes past? There was one of them there. And Northern Ireland police have guns. Oh my, I have never been so intimidated in my life. I'm driving up there, got told to stop. One of them just stood in front of me with this big automatic rifle. Another one of them walked around to the side of my car with this big automatic rifle, just holding it here, trying to talk to me, while another two of them are walking around the car, asking where I'm coming from, why I'm over here. I was like, I was like, I'm just here to work. I was in that building. I didn't do anything. I don't know why you're here. What's going on? You can search everything. I have nothing. And thank the fucking Lord, I actually didn't have anything. It was one of those days where I was there for a few days. So anything that I could have had, not saying I did have anything, in case anyone from work's listening, but anything I could have had would have been left in the hotel room. So I was just free to go. But, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So if this guy is if what's his name? I forgot his name already. Billy Hood. Billy, if you are innocent like you say you are, then my prayers go out to you, and fingers crossed this shit gets sorted ASAP, because being in jail is shit. Being in jail for 25 years is even shitter. Being in jail for 25 years in a foreign country that doesn't speak a word of English, that might just be the shittest. So, sorry, Billy. But yeah, let's close out the podcast with everybody's favourite topic. What's on the box? The weekly segment where I talk about what new TV shows and films I've seen or plan on seeing during the week. Now, off the top of my head, I don't think I've actually watched anything new this week. The one thing I did see, though, is there is a new trailer for Scream. There's a new Scream, you say, Miles? Apparently, yeah. Apparently there's a new Scream. Scream 5 is, I don't know when it was coming out. I just literally saw a trailer for Scream 5. Hey, it looked good. I really wanted to come in here and shit on it and talk about how we don't need a sequel and all of this, but no. Its release date is meant to be due on the 14th of January 2022, and they're bringing back a few of the OGs from the original one. So the girl that plays Sydney, she's back in it. Courtney Cox is back as Gail Weathers, the reporter. David Arquette's back as Dewey, but I don't think he's a police enforcement person anymore from what we saw of this. But yeah, he's back. It looks dope. Scream's one of the best horror thriller movies out there. It literally took all the horror movie cliches and just threw them right in our faces, and everyone loved it. So I actually love Scream. I can't wait for that to come out. I know I said before I don't like horrors. Scream's not the kind of horror Scream's the kind of horror that I can get with. Someone jumping out every now and again, wielding a knife, that is fine. The minute you start introducing demons and witches and devils and the paranormal, just no, I don't want to attract any of that into my life. Doesn't mean I want to attract a man wearing a black cape and a mask carrying a knife into my life. I'm just saying, if I had to fight either of the two, I'm going to go for the Scream. I'm going to go for the Scream, yes. And another thing that I saw, so moving on from that, is number one, Squid Game has been in the news, a trending topic. Something about Squid Game has been coming up ever since that fucking thing released. It's unreal. And now the new topic of discussion that seems to be happening in certain parts of the internet is, what is better, Squid Game or Alice in Borderland? If you've never watched Alice in Borderland, I literally started it today because I saw the conversation. I was like, no, let me start this. Alice in Borderland came out last year. It's another Netflix original. This one's Japanese instead of Korean. It's similar in terms of a bunch of strangers are all competing in games where the loser or losers die. Like, immediate consequence is you die. If you try and leave the game, you die. If you lose, you die. If you try and cheat, even though I haven't seen anyone try and cheat at the minute, I believe you die. So there are the similarities. Squid Game, I've spoke about it 2 or 3 times now. If you haven't watched it already, go back and watch one of my previous ones to understand Squid Game. Alice in Borderland, without giving anything away, it just starts following these 3 teenage boys, I want to say. They start messing around. They go into a bathroom stall in a subway station. Fireworks go off. There's a rumble. All the lights cut out. They come out and everyone has disappeared. It looks like literally it's just them. They're the only people left in Tokyo. A big sign flashes to say that the game's going to start. So unlike Squid Game, you don't get to choose whether or not you want to enter this game. Like, you don't get given an option. You're just in the game. No signal. You're in the real world. There's no signal or anything like that, and you're just in the game, and you've just got to play it. And there's a cool concept to it where you play a game, and every time you play a game, you get a visa. That visa is for how many days you can then go without playing a game. If you let your visa run out before playing another game, you immediately die. The way you extend your visa is to go and play another game. And the games, they don't tell you anything about the game until you get in there. But when you sign up for the game, it gives you 4 suits. So you got clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. Clubs are a team game. Diamonds about wit. Hearts plays with your heart and is all about betrayal. And then it's numbered 1 to king, with the higher the number going, the higher the level. It's good. It's interesting. It's good. My only issue is because I've watched Squid Game first, I saw a lot of people comparing what happens in the heartbreaking episode 6 to the heartbreaking episode 3 of Alice in Borderland. And because of watching Squid Game for 6 episodes, that was 6 hours with these characters and watching the bond, the betrayals hurt so much more than what happens in Alice in Borderland. Don't get me wrong, it's a fucking great... The way it happens is genius. The whole game, the whole premise of the game and the way it turns out, it's genius. But Squid Game had a bit more of an effect. But one of the big questions is, what would you rather do? Would you rather play the Squid Game or would you rather play Alice in Borderland? From what I've seen so far, I think I'd rather play Alice. No, I think I'd rather play Squid Game. Squid Game seems a lot easier. Like, for example, Alice in Borderland had a game called Tag, where the tagger had an Uzi or a Mac 10. How the fuck are you meant to outrun a Mac 10? At least in Squid Game, they were children's games. They were pretty simple. And there was a bigger chance at winning than some of the... Like this, Alice in Borderland, I don't know how many games they're meant to play. You just got to keep going around playing games with a whole bunch of strangers. People die left and right. Some of these games, they don't even give you any hints or clues. Like the first game, they just get put into a room and you've got to choose one of 2 doors to go through. That's literally the whole game. It's good. What I would say is, if you liked Squid Game, go and watch Alice in Borderland. Just don't start with the comparisons straight away. Alice in Borderland, I think, gets started a lot quicker than Squid Game, because that red light green light game doesn't come till like near the very end of the episode. Whereas Alice in Borderland, I think after 15-20 minutes, you start to get a feel for things and it all starts. So that's a good one on there as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else new that I've watched. Only Murders in the Building. If you still haven't watched Only Murders in the Building yet, it's on Disney Plus, part of Star. So good. It's such a simple premise of 3 strangers that lived in the same building, all being brought together by their love of a murder mystery podcast and a murder in their building. I've just finished watching, spoilers, I've just finished watching episode 5 or 6. No, one of these episodes I've just finished watching. They thought they solved the murder. They thought they had the murder all solved. And then someone else has now been killed in the building. That's all I'm going to say in case you ignored my spoilers. They thought they found the murderer. Someone else has now been murdered. And I was like, oh shit, now what? It's really good. What If has finished. There's no What If tomorrow. I've now depleted of Marvel stuff until Friday. This Friday, thank God. This Friday the 15th is Venom. And then, what's after that? I think it's Eternals after that. And then after Eternals, we've got the Hawkeye TV series coming. And then after the Hawkeye, or during the Hawkeye TV series, it's Spider-Man Far From Home. No, Spider-Man No Way Home. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, it's over. It's over. And the What If series was dope. There was only 9 episodes. There was meant to be 10. But they did put it out at the start that we're going to drop it down to 9. Due to shooting errors apparently caused by COVID. I don't know how true that is. Maybe there was a storyline. Involved in it or something like that. But that brings me to the close of another episode. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Miles. You've been watching. This has been the Miles High Club Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Until next week, see you soon. Peace.